However much Torquay had dreamed about upsetting one of the Championship's big boys, Leicester never once looked like playing ball. Goals arrived at regular intervals and all of them in the home net. First to benefit was Lloyd Dyer, helped by Joe Ostler's stumble to give Leicester the lead. Then Ben Marshall turned on the star with another special to add to his growing collection. The second half was just as one-sided, as two of Leicester's debutants got amongst the goals. Jermaine Beckford set Matty James on his way 5 minutes after the restart. And Jamie Vardy, signed from Fleetwood, was rewarded for his non-stop running when Marshall's accuracy left him with a simple header for number 4.
Fleetwood Town are the league's newest members, and after giving Nottingham Forest a run for their money in the League Cup earlier in the week, the Cod Army were hopeful of a decent result against potential promotion rivals Torquay.
Torquay manager Martin Ling reckoned his side couldn't have had a more difficult assignment than taking on the league's newest club, but his players soon knew what he meant. Fleetwood gave Forest a good game in the League Cup and they were fired up again. Damien Johnson, a driving force in midfield, the former Blackburn and Birmingham man, not too far from opening his account for the team. League football may be a novelty for Fleetwood, but there's plenty of experience in the ranks. John Parkin can count Barnsley, Macclesfield, Hull, Stoke, Preston and Cardiff among his former clubs. The 30-year-old's enthusiasm shows no sign of flagging, his shoot-on-sight policy making life difficult for Torquay either side of half-time. Ling's men, like their opponents, are expected to be among the front-runners for promotion. Brian Sarr firing wide in the second half, with the Devon side always hopeful they could take maximum points. Parking continued to be the thorn in their side, but it just wasn't going to be his day. Michael Polk equal to that effort, even after a wicked deflection. It was destined to stay goalless. Ian Morris off target for Torquay at the other end, as they collected a useful point to take back to the West Country.
At Plainmoor, 2 goals in as many minutes from Torquay United's Aaron Downs, and René Howe overturned a 1-goal deficit against Cheltenham Town, the team who beat them in last May's playoffs. But it was old boy Chris Zabrowski who rescued a point for the Gloucestershire side with an equaliser 10 minutes from the end.
A dream start for Rochdale, who went in search of their first win. Andrew Tutt crashed in his second of the campaign to give them the lead at Torquay after just 8 minutes. This was already shaping up to be an enthralling contest. Soon after, the Devon club were on terms, Billy Bodin squeezing home the equaliser. Dale's winless run on the road stretches all the way back to last November. That form will need to be addressed if they're to mount a serious promotion challenge. A belter of a strike from Gary Jones almost had them back in front. But it was Torquay that went to the break on top. Aussie defender Aaron Downs hadn't scored in over 2 years. Now he's got 2 in 2. Not that he's milking it. From there, Martin Ling's men never looked back. On the hour, they went 3-1 ahead. Kevin Nicholson's shot was too hot to handle for Josh Lillis, and René Howe gobbled up the rebound. His second goal in as many matches had Torquay in total command, and just 8 minutes later, the big man was on his way again. This time powering past Phil Edwards before applying a sublime finish. Last season's top scorer clearly back in the groove. But it wasn't all good news. Downs sent George Donnelly sprawling and then received his marching orders. Luckily for him, Michael Polk was on top of his game, getting down low to keep out Jason Kennedy. But 5 minutes from the end, the Torquay stopper was beaten. Ray Potterell added some respectability to the scoreline, but by then they were well beaten.
Well, Oxford and Gillingham hold the 200% records in N-Power League 2 so far this season, with Cheltenham just behind them. And there are 5 teams at the bottom, all on 1 point, with Barnet bottom as they've got the worst.
Torquay took a very young side to Port Vale and just about came away with their unbeaten record intact. When Ian Morris finished from Rennie Howe's pass, United had been under the cosh for most of the opening 39 minutes. Vale dominated this game but found goals hard to come by. But that was partly due to the brilliance of goalkeeper Michael Poke, who denied Ashley Vincent more than once. It took a freak goal to get Mickey Adams' side back on level terms. Brian Sarr completely losing his bearings and nodding the equaliser with just over 20 minutes remaining. Still, it could have been a lot worse. A couple of minutes later, Sarr was at it again. The defender centimetres away from a memorable brace. Torquay somehow hung on for a point, also surviving John McComb's injury time header. Vale will play worse and win, but that'll be no consolation to Mickey Adams tonight.
As for Scunthorpe and Leyton Orient, well, both sit at the bottom and are still without a point, while all of the bottom 8 in League One remain without a win. All right, well, that's almost it. Before we sign off, a quick reminder next week, with the Championship taking a breather, we'll be focusing on Leagues 1 and 2 next Saturday, and we kick off at 10 to midnight on BBC One. That's your lot. Steve, thanks for your company, as always. So we'll see you next Saturday. From Steve and from me, good night.
Yeah, listen, I found something.
What is it?
I have no idea. Do you want to find out?
Dinosaurs on a spaceship. You can help me so much more. And those pterodactyls? Yes. Oh, I'm so scared.
Doctor Who, next Saturday at 7:35 on BBC One and BBC One HD. Richard Reed, the man who turned smoothies into millions, is on a mission.
We want to spot and support and invest in a whole new generation of entrepreneurial talent.
Where dogs and humans can kind of dine together.
He's risking up to $1 million.
Invest in me. Invest in her.
To find Britain's next young entrepreneurs.
Sick in the car.
It's an awful idea. Some are going to crash and burn, but some are going to make it.
Be Your Own Boss, Wednesday the 12th of September on BBC Three.
BBC Radio 2 live in Hyde Park. Our festival in a day. On stage, Tom Jones, Jessie J, Status Quo, and many more. Buy your tickets and join us for this very special event on Sunday, September the 9th.
Our planet is bursting with life.
It's exactly 100 years, almost to the day, that the first human being stood right here.
For over 40 years, the BBC and the Open University have been making great programmes together.
I'm going in search of a world where goddesses ruled the heavens and the earth.
It was the empire on which the sun never set.
And now there are so many more ways to learn and get involved.
It's interactive and it's mobile.
This revolutionary breakthrough in knowledge.
Follow the link to the OU and take part in our Bang Interactive Challenge.
Bringing learning to life. The BBC in partnership with the Open University.
Torquay manager Martin Ling says there's plenty to celebrate at the club, which he feels is coming out of the shadows of its neighbours. And they went close to opening the scoring in this derby when Ian Morris and Lee Mansell saw their goal-bound efforts repelled. Goalkeeper Michael Poke had to be smart on 2 occasions to ensure the scores were level at the break. Firstly from Warren Feeney's daisy cutter, and then he showed real quality to deny Robbie Williams' curling free kick. Rennie Howe is the main man for Torquay with 3 goals to date. The Burley striker thought he'd added to his tally after he found the net following Kevin Nicholson's centre, but he was adjudged to have fouled Pilgrim's keeper Jake Cole. A much improved Plymouth in the second half continued to find Poke in irrepressible form. Alexander MacDonald cut back for Conor Hurahan, only to find the keeper to meet the challenge.
In NPower League 2, Gillingham's good start continues. That great away performance from Exeter sees them second, with Port Vale completing the top 3 after hitting Rotherham for 6. Barnet stay rock bottom. They've now won 1 in 13 at home, while Bristol Rovers are only a point better off after drawing with Aldershot.
With Steve Evans serving his 6-match stadium ban, his number 2, Paul Rayner, took charge of a Rotherham side keen to impress after being hit for 6 last time out. They set their stall out early as Coyote Odijayi set his sights. Torquay were fortunate to survive that time, but the Millers continued to pile on the pressure, and as half-time approached they made their breakthrough. Alex Ravel's persistence paying off after some slack defensive play. That settled it, but the scoreline should have been more convincing. Ravel's header led to more hesitation in the travelling ranks, but Odijayi couldn't keep his shot down. In the words of Martin Ling, Torquay had surrendered their unbeaten start with a whimper. Daniel Nardiello then tried his luck as the Millers went for more. But they're back to winning ways. Just a pity the manager couldn't see it.
It's well documented, the gaffer's absence today. That was for him. That was from everybody at the club. You know, all the staff, all the players. I think it showed the togetherness, and it really should.
Unbeaten Gillingham stay top of NPower League 2 after seeing off Bristol Rovers. 2 teams with contrasting resources, Port Vale and Fleetwood, continue their great starts, while Barnet stay rooted after their 5th defeat in 6. Bristol Rovers could do with winning their game in hand, while Chesterfield move up 3 places to 16th thanks to that much-needed first win of the campaign.
Torquay United dominated against AFC Wimbledon, but only had one very fortunate goal to show for their efforts. Rene Howe was in the right place at the right time, with the ball deflecting in off his back.
After 15 goals in their last 3 meetings, there were great expectations on the English Riviera, and when Torquay stole the lead after 18 minutes through Rene Howe's 5th of the season, the home crowd were in the mood for more. Unfortunately, they were to be disappointed. Torquay fizzled out. Burton called the shots as keeper Michael Pope's goal led a charmed life. That was Calvin Zola finding the post. The surprise was that they didn't score until the very last minute, when eventually their luck turned. Even then a post was involved, as Xander Diamond's header rebounded for Zola, who hadn't trained all week because of a knee injury, to turn in his 4th goal in 3 matches. Yet another draw for Torquay.
Well, what a start for Gillingham, top of NPower League 2 and have dropped just 2 points all season. The team they beat, Port Vale, are 6 points behind them on 16, where they're joined by Exeter and Bradford. While the bottom 3 of League 2 stay the same and are still all searching for a first win of the season, while Bristol Rovers and Wycombe's rearranged game is starting to look increasingly
Torquay were looking to record their first win in 18 league visits to Chesterfield. They might have wondered whether they'd ever break the hoodoo when Richard O'Donnell palmed against his own bar and Lloyd Macklin missed the follow-up. Almost immediately after the break, the home side took the lead. The impressive Craig Westcar produced a through ball good enough that Tendai Darikwa didn't need to break his considerable stride and slots home his first goal in professional football. But Chesterfield's lead would last all of 3 minutes. Neil Trotman looked to be dealing comfortably with a hopeful Torquay clearance until this costly slip let in Rene Howe to claim a point. Converting 1 point to 3 still the problem. Both have drawn 6 times this season.
Gillingham lost the only unbeaten record in NPower League 2, but are still 3 points clear at the top. Port Vale keep up their terrific start with a win at Bradford, while newly promoted Fleetwood sit in the top 3 after they beat Barnet. As for Mark Robson's men, they stay bottom of League 2 and are now the only team in the 4th tier yet to taste victory. As we just mentioned, Dagenham and Bristol Rovers both got their maiden wins, and Wycombe's caretaker boss Gareth Ainsworth lost his first game, and they now sit second.
On to more drama now and some sports news. Torquay United last night staged an astonishing recovery to beat Aldershot Town at Playmore after they were 3 goals in arrears. With that and the rest of the football action, here's Brent Pilnick.
As comebacks go, Lazarus would have been proud of Torquay United last night.
The Gulls were 3-0 down to Aldershot as Craig Reed helped himself to a hat-trick. But then came a recovery that boss Martin Ling has never experienced in almost a decade as a manager. First, Billy Bodin pulled one back for Torquay, then substitute Ryan Jarvis made it 3-2. Ashley Yeoman found the perfect time to get his first ever goal for the Gulls as he drew the sides level, before top scorer Rene Howe got the winner in the last minute.
Well, it's fair to say these are difficult days at Adams Park. Relegated from League One in May, Wickham were without a win since the opening day of the season, and they began the day second from bottom of the Football League. So can a cult hero with rockstar ambitions be the man to turn things around? Clement to find out.
It's the classic schoolboy dilemma. Do I want to be a footballer or a rock star? And at the age of 39, Gareth Ainsworth still hasn't quite decided.
Easy come and easy go. I'll take or leave it as it comes.
Despite over 500 professional appearances in a 21-year career, he still finds it difficult to turn down the opportunity to warble his tonsils. So, despite Wickham's precarious position, just hours after the final whistle of today's crucial game with Torquay United, he'll take to a stage in a function suite here at Adams Park, and he'll strut his stuff with local band Sub Rosa 5 as part of an official club charity night. Well, my first thoughts are, have you got time for all this tonight? Because you've got a bit of a big job on your hands.
That was my first thoughts, Clem. To be fair, I committed to this about 2 months ago.
Musical heroes, if you had to pick one.
Jim Morrison, without a shadow.
We like a bit of, a bit of garage, bit of R&B, bit of dance, kind of the more up-to-date stuff. You know, a lot of Gazzy stuff is kind of like before we were born, a lot of it. So,
this afternoon will be serious, you know, like I say, it's all serious football, and then there's a big release. I love my music and I love my bands and I love being in front of a band singing, so that's huge for me as well.
Come on, let's have a show of hands. Who's actually going to see him perform tonight? Oh. Well, come on, somebody here must like his taste in music. It's a tough enough gig that Gareth Ainsworth has got himself this afternoon. Wickham are still suffering from a relegation hangover and coming to terms with a new age of austerity since their supporters' trust took control of the club in the summer.
We will have the team we can afford. We will break even, probably not this season, but next season, and that will be the team that, whatever we can afford, we will have.
Well, despite the fact you haven't quite got your name on the door yet, I mean, first of all, this place has seen some names over the years.
It's got a good history with managers, Wickham, you know. Obviously, you mentioned the name on the door. Gary Waddock was, well respected here, and he's been one of the first ones in touch to me saying, it's your turn now. I work hard to give 100% for whatever shirt's on my back, and this is no exception. Whether it's a suit jacket or a number 7, you know, it's 100%. And you know, if I can get the job, I'd be very proud. And if not, I'm very proud of what I've done already.
This is the toughest question you're ever going to have to answer, OK? 100,000 adoring music fans, you screaming your head off at Wembley Stadium, or 3 points this afternoon?
3 points this afternoon. Come on, I've got 200 screaming fans tonight, so I'm OK.
Gareth Ainsworth certainly played his part in Wickham's first home win of the season. It was his hook into the box that was nodded home by Gary Doherty after the half-hour mark. But the Chairboys are the only side not to have kept a clean sheet this season, so there was an air of inevitability when Torquay's equaliser arrived just before half-time. Rene Howe with his 8th goal of the season and 5th in as many games. Wickham had Dean Morgan to thank for their winner. His trickery and pinpoint cross set up Josh Scowen to head home. Torquay pressed for the equaliser, and Jordan Archer had to be at his best to deny Ryan Jarvis. But Wickham held on for that elusive home win, and Ainsworth's audition for the job seems to be going to plan.
That was amazing over there. What's all that about?
That's just a thank you to them because they've been behind us since I took the reins. So proud of those boys in there. They have worked their socks off today. They've given me everything that I asked for, and that's what you get. And I'm so proud.
Go and see them, and then put your spandexy trousers on. We'll see you a bit later.
Rock and roll, yeah.
Here he comes. Oh, you look every bit the rock star. Good luck, mate.
Top man.
In you go.
Man. Packed out, yeah.
The time to hesitate is through. No time to wallow in the mire. Trying to we can only lose. And our love become a funeral pie, yeah.
Clearly, a man of many. Gillingham only drew on Saturday but stay top of N-Power League 2. Port Vale were the only team in the top 4 to win, while Fleetwood stay in the top 3. As for Barnet, well, unsurprisingly, they stay bottom of League 2 and are still without a win. 5 points adrift now. Aldershot's 4th consecutive defeat sees them drop into the bottom 2, while Wycombe picked up a much-needed.
It may not have been the start to the season that Torquay had hoped for, but they are slowly creeping toward the promotion places. When Stanley's Michael Little handled Nathan Craig's cross, the goals were given a 5th-minute penalty in this one. Ronnie Howe scored from the spot for his 6th goal in consecutive matches. Torquay's club record is 7. Accrington's leading scorer Podrick Hammond was a surprise omission from their starting 11, but he made his impact from the bench. The Irishman's headed equaliser coming from fellow sub Bowen Dixon's cross. But any hopes of a comeback were extinguished 2 minutes later. Stanley stood and watched as Billy Bowden restored Torquay's lead. And the defending wasn't much better with 10 minutes to go as Lee Mansell scored his first goal of the season. That puts the goals a point off the playoffs and 4 short of the top 3. Keep your eyes on Martin Ling's men. They could even afford to miss a few chances in this one. Mansell was the biggest culprit, but at least he was able to laugh about it.
So let's have a look at the tables then, and at the top of N-Power League 2, Gillingham's big win gives them a 6-point advantage over Port Vale, who have a game in hand. Cheltenham move into the automatic promotion places, whilst Fleetwood slip down after their loss today. But apart from Gillingham, it's all very tight. No Dutch magic for Barnet, who are still without a win and rooted to the bottom of the table with Aldershot just above them, and who are beaten for the 6th consecutive time in all competitions.
If they organised a mini version of League 2 in the southwest, Mark McGee's Rovers would be doing quite nicely. They'd secured 4 points on trips to Plymouth and Exeter, and they struck first against Torquay, courtesy of Tom Eaves, the 20-year-old on loan from Bolton. Within a couple of minutes, Matthew Lund found the bottom corner, and Rovers appeared to be on course for a 3rd win in 5 starts. The visitors' prospects didn't look any brighter when Joe Osler barged into Lee Brown, earning the goals defender his 2nd yellow in the opening half an hour. The Devon club had suffered a penalty shootout defeat in the Johnston's Paint Trophy in midweek, but the 10 men showed plenty of resilience and they cut the deficit on 53 minutes. Rene Howe hit the mark for a 7th successive match, equalling a club record first set more than half a century ago. And with more than half an hour to play, it was all square, as Australian defender Aaron Downs nipped in to tie the scores at 2 apiece. Rovers, though, delivered the decisive blow. Goalskeeper Michael Pope couldn't hold Elliot Richards' effort, and Wayne Brown turned the ball back to leave Eaves a simple task: to keep McGee's team moving in the right direction.
Well, Gillingham are top of N-Power League 2 and are now 10 points clear of 3rd and 4th, while Port Vale won their 3rd consecutive game as they continue their impressive start. Despite only drawing, Fleetwood move into the top 3 as they replaced Cheltenham, who lost at Bradford. Barnet's surprise win was their first of the season, of course, but they stay bottom of N-Power League 2. Aldershot sit a place above them after losing their 6th consecutive game, while Neil Ardley is still looking for his first win as AFC.
Torquay may have a yellow jersey, but at the moment they seem to be conserving energy in the chasing pack. Nathan Craig had an early side of goal as Martin Ling's side won this without being at their best. Able to defeat Gillingham in the week, you sense that at some point the goals will make their attack. For now though, they're happy to just keep pace. Danny Stevens' first goal of the season was enough for 3 points and back-to-back wins for the first time since April. That speaks volumes about Torquay's inconsistency. On another day, this tepid performance might have cost them, but Michael Poke's save from Luis Alessandra ensured that the goals stay firmly in the promotion race.
As for the top of NPAL League 2, Gillingham picked up their 11th maximum of the season as they extend their lead after Port Vale lost at Northampton, while Cheltenham's win sees them move into third as they swap places with Fleetwood. Barnet's win means they extend their unbeaten run to 3 but are still bottom of League 2. Aldershot, a place above them, picked up a point. In fact, the Bees were the only team in the bottom 9 to manage all 3 points.
Torquay were also humbled at home by Yorkshire minnows Harrogate.
And Shalaka! It's in! Shib Shalaka for Harrogate Hercules. And that's it! Harrogate Town have done it! Happy Harrogate into the second round for the first.
Torquay United suffered at the hands of a Barnet side rejuvenated by former Dutch international Edgar Davids. Clovis Camjo scored the only goal of the game.
Oxford games are usually action-packed. The 54 goals they'd shared with opponents the highest in League 2. But for once the keepers had a field day in this match. Ryan Clark thwarting Torquay's Billy Bowden in the first half. The home side's James Constable found Martin Rice equally stubborn after the break as the strugglers made most of the running. The Torquay custodian enjoying his full Football League debut at the age of 26, though he needed some help to keep out Andy Wing. The ball cleared off the line before Rice snuffed out the danger to ensure the match would end in stalemate.
Gillingham stayed top of NPAL League 2 after their late point at Plymouth. Port Vale stay second, level on points with Cheltenham, who continue their impressive form under Mark Yates. Bradford are up to 4th, replacing Fleetwood, and Rochdale move into the top 6. Aldershot stay bottom with Wickham and Barnet level on points with the Shots. Bristol Rovers and AFC Wimbledon both picked up vital wins to move 4 points clear of the bottom.
The only unbeaten home record in the division has kept Torquay in the promotion picture, but it fell apart in spectacular fashion. Gavin Tomlin turned goals defender Kevin Nicholson before beating keeper Martin Rice for the Southend opener. Tomlin then turned provider, giving Britta Sombalonga an opportunity to run at Joe Osler. The deflection off the luckless Osler gave the keeper no chance. As Sombalonga, the Zaire-born teenager on loan from Watford, has a growing reputation, and his goal tally is also increasing. From Kevin Hurst centre, his 11th of the season carried the Shrimpers to a 3-0 lead at the break. Goals boss Martin Ling spent 5 years as a player at Southend. He watched the current Shrimpers take his team apart. The second period began with Tomlin racing clear and coolly evading Rice, who was enduring a miserable home debut in the Torquay goal. Niall Thompson's delivery enabled Ryan Jarvis to register one positive note for the hosts. But it was a bad day at the office for the Devon club. They also had skipper Lee Mansell dismissed for that lunge on a Sombalonga.
At the top of NPAL League 2, Gillingham's late win sees them reach the 40-point mark after just 18 games. Port Vale are without a win in 5 now, but stay in second, where they've been since September. Cheltenham may have lost, but they stay in third. In fact, Cheltenham were the only losers in the top 6. Wickham, meanwhile, dropped to the bottom of League 2 for the first time this season and are without a win in 6. Aldershot move up a place. Barnet are out of the bottom 2 for the first time since the opening day, while Chesterfield in 16th were the only team in the bottom half to pick up all 3.
Two inconsistent mid-table sides met at Bootham Crescent, and it was visitors